Welcome to the North TV studio here at 93 South Washington Street in North Attleboro. It's Tuesday, October 6th. We are, 4 weeks and 1 day away or something like that before the November 3rd election. A lot of decisions to make between now and then. Normally we hold these debates about 10 days before Election Day, but with mail-in ballots, early voting, we felt it was important to get this information and for you to meet the candidates as soon as possible. Two debates on tap tonight. The first is the state representative debate. One of the two gentlemen sitting in front of me will be representing you up on Beacon Hill for the next 2 years, starting in January, not only here in North Attleboro, but also Ward 3B, Precinct 3B that is, in Attleboro, and Precincts 1 and 5 in Mansfield. The two candidates, the Democrat is sitting on your left, the Republican is sitting on your right. I don't know if I got that right, but either way, Adam Scanlon is representing the Democratic Party and John Simmons, the Republican Party. Everything you will see this evening is timed to the minute, including the order that the candidates will speak. We actually flipped a JFK 50-cent piece out in the main room here at North TV earlier. Adam Scanlon won the toss, like Bill Belichick deferred his option and allowed John Simmons to have the first words of the evening. John Simmons, you will have 3 minutes to deliver an opening statement.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, all of you watching. My name is John Simmons, and I'm running for state representative for the 14th Bristol District. Growing up in scouting instilled a deep love of community and service. That love of service led me to join the Army National Guard when I was just 17 years old, following my family's long commitment to both military and law enforcement service. I and my family thank all of our first responders, and I promise to be your strongest advocate on Beacon Hill. I continued my commitment to service through my involvement with the Bristol Masonic Lodge here in North Attleboro. Our goal is simply to make our community better. Through my involvement with the Plainville North Attleboro Rotary Club, where our motto is service above self. And as a coach to many youth sports teams, which has truly been the love of my life. My desire to serve led me to run for a seat in our representative town meeting, to serve as an election commissioner. And when the opportunity arose to break from the status quo and change our form of government here in North Attleboro, I was honored to be elected to our first town council. I wish to bring a lifetime of experience and service to work for you in the State House. I grew up in North Attleboro, and after college and law school, my wife and I settled here. We own a home here. We raise our children here. And I built my small office here. My business started as a small one-room law office and has now grown into a thriving law practice. I understand the hard work and dedication it takes to make a small business successful. I understand the late nights, the long hours, and the worry. And I understand that the absolute best way to help small businesses is to get out of the way and let them innovate. I will listen to our business community to find out what they need from government and not the other way around. As the father of two school-aged children, I understand the critical importance education plays. And having served as the town council representative to the school committee, I understand the hard work and dedication of our teachers. But our schools need support, funding, and they need champions. I promise to bring a mature, balanced voice to the State House. I thank you for your support, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, John. Adam, you also have 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, members of our local media, North TV, and to you, John, for jumping in this race and participating in this debate tonight. Hi, I'm Adam Scanlon, and I'm running to be your next state representative. 50 years ago, my grandparents moved here because they believed in our community. My mother and father grew up here, and my dad opened a small business in town nearly 40 years ago, and he is still successful to this day. I've learned a lot from our community, whether it was at my first job cleaning tables or pouring cups of coffee on a Saturday afternoon. I got a chance to listen to our residents' issues and concerns. In my youth, I was a lector and altar server, and I earned the rank of Eagle Scout and also became a black belt. I graduated from Framingham State University with a degree in political science, and I am nearly complete with my master's degree at Northeastern University. When I was 17 years old, I saw the crippling effects that our school budget was having upon the many opportunities our students take advantage of. I spoke in front of our town's finance committee about the importance of education, and I realized that when the finance committee recommended more funding for our local schools, that I could make a difference. That's why I ran in 2017 for school committee. From that moment on, I continued to work with stakeholders like students, parents, teachers on a number of different initiatives, but I wanted to continue to do more for our town. That's why I ran for town council, so I could support all public services, including public safety and many other departments, while also supporting our seniors and our small businesses. Since my time on the town council and as chair of the bylaw study subcommittee, I've advocated for our town's entrance into the Green Community Program. I've advocated for senior tax relief and have worked with other councilors to achieve that. I worked to establish a subcommittee to help spur economic development, and I've written legislation to address blighted properties in town. I enjoy helping constituents no matter their political beliefs, and I enjoy working with both Republicans and Democrats. Two things that our next state rep will have to do, the first being a voice for our constituents and our small businesses, and delivering excellent constituent services. I've already demonstrated my ability to do that. The second thing that our state rep must do is build upon a vision by working with everyone in our district. My vision is very simple. I want to fight for equity in all different fronts for all people, whether it be creating and building upon an economy that works for all, building upon and strengthening our education system, and building an affordable healthcare system that works for truly everyone. I also want to be a transparent legislator on Beacon Hill and will release all of my votes and will conduct office hours and will even make house visits when safe to do so. I also want to fight for more local aid. I want to bring those tax dollars back to our district. I've already demonstrated my commitment to doing so by working with Senator Roush to get $50,000 for our local schools, and that's what I'll continue to do. I'm the only union-endorsed candidate, and I have the support of Council Vice President Justin Paré and Attleboro Mayor Haro, and I look forward to sharing my ideas throughout this debate.
I want to remind you, Adam, to keep an eye on Megan Miller, who was our timer this evening. First question will be from Bill Gouveia. Now, due to the coronavirus, our panelists are not in our studio. They submitted questions to me, and I will read them. Bill, his first question. And Adam, you will be the first to answer. There are so few Republicans in the legislature, it is easy to rise to a minority leadership position. While that is more difficult as on the Democratic side, a representative from the Democratic Party is part of the group that overwhelmingly controls the House. Bill would like to know, from the perspective of looking at party for the benefit of North Attleboro, and Mansfield, which is better? Which one, if either, will help the people in the district the most? Adam?
Well, throughout my tenure as a school committee member and as a town councilor, I've worked with both Republicans and Democrats to get things done. As I said in my last debate, there's no Republican or Democratic way to plow the street. You simply just do it. And we know right now with COVID-19 going on that COVID doesn't discriminate against political party. We all have to work together to get through this pandemic. In terms of my affiliation, I'm willing to break with leadership if I don't believe something is in the best interest of our district. North Attleboro has seen its lack of state aid. Over the last 4 years, we've seen a deficit of over $1 million in state aid in just North Attleboro alone. I've already demonstrated my commitment to getting more local aid, and that's what I'll be able to do. When you look at similar communities in terms of population, those communities are getting more local funding for their district based on who their representative is. In the economic development bill that was just in the House, North Attleboro didn't get any earmarks out of that. It's currently sitting in committee, and it's a multi-million-dollar bill that could truly have benefited the small business in this town. I would have fought for every nickel and dime in that bill, as well as in our transportation bond bill that is currently in conference committee. I'm willing to fight for every single resident in this district, but also work across party lines to get things done.
John, would the district be better off with a Democrat or Republican representing them?
So I think generally people are sick of party politics. They want answers, they want help, and that's what I'm going to deliver. When you look at our history in this district with Representative Poirier, we have received earmarks for our pool. We have received earmarks for a variety of health-related charities and a variety of children's programs. I will continue her work, and I will obviously work with the other side. However, I'm not going to be one of 130. I'm going to be one of 30. Our leader has to listen to the Republicans. He needs us to make sure that he's representing and working for all the people. So I'm going to reach across party lines. I'm going to do whatever's necessary to work for the people of Attleboro, Mansfield, and North Attleboro, regardless of party, because I think most people are done with party politics.
The next question is from North Star reporter, editor Max Bowen, and John, you will be the first to answer. Local aid is expected to take a sharp dive as a result of COVID-19. In North Attleboro, for example, aid has dropped almost $1 million in the last 4 years. Max would like to know, how can you, as state representative, help ensure North Attleboro, and Mansfield receive the money they need?
So I think most importantly, we have to realize local aid, state aid is largely formula driven. We need to change the way that we fund our basic government. We need to change the formula. Then and only then will you have equity in funding. State aid has decreased, but state tax receipts haven't. They've increased, and that is simply unfair and inequitable. I will work to make sure that we revise the funding mechanisms designed to make sure that our local governments, which are far more efficient at dealing with our local issues, have the funding they need.
Adam, same question.
Well, John's absolutely right with the idea of breaking the formula, and I'm thankful for the legislator for already taking a great amount of work in changing the Chapter 70 formula. However, it hasn't been voted on the funding of it yet, and I will be there to support everything that's in the Student Opportunity Act to make sure that we are getting the funding that we need, and we are getting 100% reimbursement on every tuition out for charter schools that has affected our local education budget in the past. I've already demonstrated my commitment to getting local aid by working with other legislators. I'm also going to be able to work with our federal legislators. Jake Auchincloss, who will likely be our next congressman, has endorsed me because he believes that I can get the job done. I've also been endorsed by so many local people because they've seen my commitment to getting things done and my passion for the community. I will always be there to fight for every nickel and dime I can, whether it's in funding for transportation, more grants for small businesses, more funding for our local schools, and even money to support our public safety officers. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, members of the minority party pretty much voted in lockstep in not voting to give additional funding to our local police departments and funding for more police training. However, for some reason, things have changed. I'm going to be there to support our police and also our people of color and those that are disenfranchised. but it's going to take a representative that's going to fight for every nickel and dime to get that done.
The next question is from Sun Chronicle columnist Mike Kirby. North Attleboro, and Mansfield have a number of eyesores, dilapidated buildings. In North Attleboro, the Webster Building on Broadway at the end of Richards Avenue is among the most visible. Mike would like to know, what can you do as state representative to give the town the assistance it needs to clean up these dangerous structures? Adam, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. That's actually a great question. So I've already started work on this as a town councilor. I'm working currently with the bylaw study committee, and before that we had worked with various department heads to get feedback on how we can improve dilapidated, blighted, and vacant and abandoned properties here in town. I work with our economic development subcommittee that I had a hand in creating and getting feedback for that bill. I'm going to continue to support that even if I'm not on the town council. I still believe that the next job of the state rep is going to be to support every local government in any way that they can. I think that in terms of certain businesses, there's more that aid and help that our government can do to support them, whether it's fighting for more PPE for the businesses that need it, or fighting for small business grants. The big box stores like Walmart and BJ's are going to be fine throughout this pandemic, but we're seeing a lot of stores and restaurants close all around us because they don't have, unfortunately, the funding to do it. I'm going to be there to support them. And another thing that I'm very passionate about is making sure they get the tax relief they need. During the last tax session in November, the council was discussing the small commercial property tax exemption. I found out that only 57 of over 500 businesses were able to qualify for that exemption. I'm going to champion legislation to make it so more businesses can take part of that exemption.
John Simmons, same question. Dangerous structures, eyesores.
So I think when it comes to eyesores, this is a cornerstone of my campaign, is a return to local control over these issues with the help of the state. Recently, with regards to the Webster Building, North Attleboro was able to receive a grant to conduct testing there to see how expensive it would be to clean the property, with the hopeful goal of having that property repurposed. And then you see the 21E development, which is happening on East Street. That is an example of local control working with the state in order to get grants to make all the towns better. When you look at blighted properties, we have to pay attention to our owners, our taxpayers, to make sure that they know they have the help out there. Working on the Economic Development Subcommittee, we had the chance to review a rough draft of this. We are supportive in general of ways to force property owners to take care of properties if it is within their means. If not, we're going to have to work with them to guide them through the system, to help them get the grants necessary, to work with local government to fix these properties and to get them back on the tax rolls.
The next question is once again from Bill Gouveia, Sun Chronicle columnist. And John, you will be the first to answer this question. The coronavirus continues to dominate what's happening in our area, and as we saw this past weekend, beyond. It has even reached, of course, the Oval Office. Bill would like to know what steps you would take as our state representative to address it. How would you balance opening businesses and schools while containing the virus and saving lives?
Thank you for the question. When we are dealing with an unknown global pandemic, we need a broad vision as to how to address it. Starting with helping our small businesses. Make sure that they have everything they need to open safely, and more importantly, make sure they have everything they need to stay open safely. If we see a spike, I would hope that with everything that we've learned about the virus, we would be able to have a balanced, targeted approach to trying to control any increases. Schools, as the father of two school children, it was a very difficult decision. However, I trust our leaders. I trust that the hybrid model, which many of our schools are using, is the right way to go. I think you have to balance the children's mental health with their physical health.
Adam, same question.
Thank you. I first want to say I'm very impressed with the work that Governor Baker has done throughout this pandemic and his excellent leadership, and for his commitment to striking a balance between the importance of public health while also supporting our economic needs. As a state rep, I will be there to fight for more PPE for our small businesses that need it, as well as more funding for our schools. Throughout the entire state, not everyone has internet access, unfortunately, and I've learned people in our own communities don't have that. There's more work that we can do to expand hotspots for students that wish to work remotely. In terms of more testing, I think that's another area that we can improve upon. And when it comes to North Attleboro's town government, there was a bill in the House that would have addressed more funding for not only our local schools, but also our municipal operations. There was only, I believe, $50,000 out of that bill. Senator Roush was able to get $250,000 out of that bill. I want to aim high and make sure that we can get every piece of funding necessary that we can to fund this district.
The next question is from Max Bowen. It's a similar question. One of the greatest issues across the state right now is how schools should be instructing students during the coronavirus pandemic. Some have gone fully remote, while others have brought all students back 5 days a week. Max would like to know, Adam, what you believe is the best approach.
Well, I think that local control is great in this aspect. I appreciate the advice and guidelines that our state has put out to deal with this issue, but I agree that it's up to our local school committee, our local teachers unions, and frankly, it's up to you as a parent to decide what's in the best interest of your child. I think that as a state rep, we all have to work together to make sure that we move towards seeing a shared goal. I've been a school committee member in the past, and I know how difficult some of these conversations have been when it comes to curriculum. I will have the experience of negotiating contracts with our teachers, and I have the experience of working with teachers and administrators. I've had a tremendous amount of experience in developing our district improvement plan and our strategic plan, and I leave it up to our great educators, not just those in the classroom, but also people like Superintendent Scott Holcomb and David Sawyer in Attleboro. They know their stuff, and they know what's best for this district.
John Simmons, same question.
Thank you. I think that this is a local control issue. The people on the ground closest to these issues have the knowledge base necessary to properly address them. But at the end of the day, it's up to you, the parent. We had the option here in North Attleboro where I could send my 2 kids back to school hybrid, or I could choose to keep them home. I made the decision to send my kids back to school hybrid so they could start socializing again, and so they could work on not only their physical health, but also their mental health. But this is a deeply personal issue for many. Some have a variety of situations at home which have to be addressed. So I would leave it up to the parents to decide, provided the schools work within the state guidelines, which I think our schools have done. I would then leave it up to the parents.
The next question is the last question from Mike Kirby as part of this debate. It's also the shortest question of the evening, which I'm fine with. And John, you get to answer this one first. Who do you support for president and why?
Thank you. I'm voting for Donald Trump based on my options. My focus, however, is on the 14th Bristol District. My focus is on your issues, is on helping small businesses, is on helping properly fund education, is on supporting law enforcement. I'm focused on my race. National politics has very little to do with what happens here in the 14th Bristol District. I'm going to leave the national politics to the national politicians. I'm running for state rep. That's the only seat I'm concerned with. That's the only district I'm concerned with, because I'm only concerned about you.
Adam Scanlon, who do you support for president and why?
Well, I am voting for Joe Biden on November 3rd because I believe his values best associate with mine. I understand that everyone has a difference of opinion on this, and I've shown throughout my experience as a town councilor and a school committee member that I can both work with Republicans and Democrats to get things done. Like John said, this is going to be my priority. It's what I'm going to develop my full-time attention to. I'm 100% dedicated to this position, and I will always be there to fight for every single person in this district, no matter who you are, where you come from, or what your political beliefs are. You know, as I said at the beginning of this debate, COVID-19 does not discriminate against any political party, and I want to be a state representative that helps all people, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or not. I understand that we all need to work together to get things done, and that's what I'll do as your next state representative.
That is it from the panelists, their questions for the evening. The next set of questions will come from the candidates themselves. What I have found over the years, the questions from the panelists seem to be very general, but when the candidates get a chance to ask each other questions, there's usually a little more insight. These two gentlemen have worked together on the town council for more than a year now. So each candidate will get 30 seconds to ask a question. The candidate being asked that question will have 2 minutes to respond, and the candidate originally asking the question gets 1 minute 30 seconds, or 10 seconds less than 100 seconds. How about that for a recovery? So John, you get to ask the first question of Adam.
Thank you. You have thanked our current state representative, Poirier, for helping you along the way in your political career, even using pictures with her in your past campaigns. However, a number of your supporters on social media have made the contention that she has done a poor job serving the district by failing to secure state aid. And you have publicly thanked them for doing so. Knowing that state aid is largely formula-driven, based on a formula crafted by the Democratic legislature, do you truly agree with their assessment that we have been poorly served by Representative Poirier?
Adam?
I think Rep. Poirier has done a great, tremendous amount of things, whether it's helping local charities, whether it be at Lenore's Pantry or the Supply Sacks program. But when it comes to local aid, we haven't gotten our fair share of it. I have to be frank with you. And when it comes to the formulas, these formulas haven't been updated since a very long time, and we need to do more to change them, but also fight for more local aid in the annual budget discussions. As I said, in the COVID-19 budget bill, North Attleboro was only getting $50,000 out of that House version. We could have fought for more local funding. When it came to the transportation bond bill, again, we weren't getting any funding out of that bill. When it comes to the number of amendments that are offered annually as part of budget discussions, there are only 2 or 3 that really impact North Attleboro. If you look at communities like Wellesley, they're getting tons of local aid. That's our tax dollars going to another community. We need to bring some of that back. I don't necessarily agree with everything my supporters would say on Facebook, but that's the beauty of America. We all get to have different opinions, and we may not always agree on or disagree on things. I can only speak for myself, and I'm running this campaign in a positive way. I think that I'm not running against Betty Poirier. I'm running in my own campaign for state rep. I'm running to be a champion for all people.
John, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. I would like to continue Representative Poirier's history of service to this community. Her work with our food banks, her work with the Children's Center, her work securing funding for our pool, which was a gift from our World War II veterans. She's present in this community. She is active in this community because she's engaged in this community. We shouldn't be funding our government through earmarks. We should be funding our government through a proper calculation of aid based on an equitable picture of our district. And that's what I pledge to do for you. Thank you.
Adam, you get a chance to ask John a question.
John, as a member of the town council, what pieces of legislation and new business have you personally brought forward to the council, and what has been adopted in your capacity?
John, you get 2 minutes.
Thank you. So while working on town council, I have acted as the town council representative to the school committee. I've acted on the economic development subcommittee, the finance subcommittee, and the rules subcommittee, where we have almost completed drafting rules for our new form of government. Working on the finance committee and helping craft the budget during COVID has to rank one of my highest priorities. Seeing how our town manager responded to COVID, the same town manager that I advocated for, has put North Attleboro in a position to be able to withstand a 20% cut in aid without having to do layoffs and without having to do stabilization raids. The proudest vote I took on council was a vote to put money away into our stabilization account. The vote failed, but that's okay, because that was the right decision. A vote the council later came around to when they did eventually put the money into stabilization, which has allowed us to have the budget we have now and have no layoffs and have the same level of service.
Adam, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you, John, but the question was what pieces of legislation and new business have you personally brought forward? And in terms of your commitment on the various subcommittees, you've missed 17% of the meetings. I've never missed a meeting on school committee or on town council. And for me, it's not just being present at these meetings, it's getting the work done. I am not a husband, I don't own a small business. I'm going to be there 100% of the time, fighting for every single person in this district. I can speak to my record, which is working on legislation to address our blighted properties. I've overseen the largest increase in student resources and curriculum while as a member of the school committee. I partnered up with Vice President Justin Paré to get more tax benefits for our seniors. I worked to create the economic development subcommittee that you are a part of. I've had a tremendous amount of experience in government, but I also have experience outside of government too. I worked in various businesses, and I also understand net profit and net loss and competition. I understand many issues and situations people are having right now. I take the time to listen to them. Small businesses is a thing that runs in my family. I see that at my kitchen table every day, and I will always be someone on Beacon Hill that is proactive and will advance legislation to get things done.
John, it's your turn again to ask a question of Adam.
Thank you. In your answers to the Progressive Massachusetts 2020 Legislative Endorsement Questionnaire, you state the following. You support raising the corporate minimum excise tax on top of payroll tax, property tax, and sales tax small businesses already pay. You support raising the corporate tax rate. You support raising long-term capital gains by almost 100%. You support single-payer health care or government-run health care, but you want to start with a public option. You support legal injection sites. You support local towns being able to add fees on top of real estate tax transactions, on top of the state excise tax. You support rent control. You support raising the age of criminal majority from 18 to 21. I ask you, is there any policy being pushed by the progressive left which you actually oppose?
Adam, you have 2 minutes to answer.
Sure, I don't think 2 minutes is enough time to really talk about each individual issue that John just brought up. But I have been an independent voice on the council, and that's what I'll do as a state legislator. When it comes to the various issues that come before me, I'm always going to be open. In terms of healthcare, like I said, I would be in favor of starting with the public option. There are many people in my party and across the state that would advocate for sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. I'm not in favor of that. I do want to support our police officers. That's why I support a bill that was drafted by the original co-sponsors of the Safe Communities Act and our chiefs of police to fight for a more progressive justice system. I think that the bigger businesses like Walmart and even the Emerald Square Mall isn't paying enough in taxes. Our small businesses are continuing to struggle. I'm going to fight for more exemptions. Like I said at the beginning of this debate, only 57 of over 500 small businesses in the town were able to take a part of that exemption. And when they do get that exemption, it doesn't even go to the small business. It goes to the property owner. And we know that that benefit may not even trickle down into the individual business. I'm happy to talk about each individual with you at length. And I'm also proud to have each issue that I've been a champion of on my website. I speak about my plan for education and my plan for transportation. I have specific things that I want to work on and how I want to do it. I don't run on political rhetoric. I run on my record and what I want to bring for this district.
John, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Thank you. I think we live in a district which is in the middle. I think that we get elected to properly represent our district. I'm not going to Beacon Hill to enact my agenda. I'm going to Beacon Hill to fight for your agenda. And I know that your agenda does not include eliminating life sentences as a possibility regardless of crime. I know that your agenda does not include removing parental notification for minors who seek to get abortions. You focus on the middle because that's where you live, and that's where I hope to lead from.
The final question of this portion of the debate will be asked by Adam.
John, outgoing veteran Rep. Poirier struggled as a member of the House minority to secure our fair share of local aid for the district. How do you plan to be more successful for our district as a freshman legislator of the minority party?
Thank you. Our job is to act as advocates for you and to help guide you through the system. That's all based on creating personal relationships. Relationships which I'm happy to say I'm already working on. Relationships that I've been able to make over a lifetime of public activity. Working with a variety of charity organizations exposes me to legislators who wish to help. Working with our town government. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about this campaign is my ability to bring my vision to other people. I was at the Attleboro Farmers Market this weekend talking with Jay DeLisio. And I was happy to note that he was also there meeting with State Representative Hawkins. They worked together. Representative Poirier worked together. I had a chance to meet with Paul Heroux. I've had a chance to meet with Representative Barrows, who I will be sharing Mansfield with. And I had a nice talk with town manager in in Mansfield, about what his town needs. This job is about building and working on relationships, something which I have been doing my whole life.
Adam, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Well, thank you, Peter. The question was about how you will secure more local aid for our district. I've already demonstrated my commitment to being able to do that. I've been able to work with Senator Roush in getting funding for our district. And I've said this as a cornerstone of my campaign. We need to bring the tax dollars back to our district. And in terms of relationships, and I'm not making them, I already have them. That's why I have several supporters from the Attleboro City Council, like Ty Waterman and Sarah Lynn Reynolds and Councilor Dolan and Councilor Holmes. The mayor of Attleboro is supporting me because he believes that I can do the job. Senator Feeney, who represents Mansfield in the legislature, is supporting me because he knows that I can do the job. But I'm not just supported by Democrats. I'm supported by unenrolled voters too, whether they're on the town council or they're on the school committee here in North Attleboro. I am someone that can build consensus, and I am someone that can get things done. I'm going to be able to bring that local aid back to our district. We can't afford to not have the same equations of formulas continue to disenfranchise North Attleboro and the other communities. I will fight for you.
I actually get the final question of the evening. Why? Because I'm the moderator and I came up with this format. And I'll be honest with you, it's a selfish question, not only for me, but if you are watching local cable, for you as well. Gentlemen, 90 to 95% of the revenue cable access corporations like North TV use to operate come from a portion residents pay, cable customers, I should say, pay to the cable giants. The fees are, of course, paid in lieu of taxes. The companies do not pay for running cables all throughout North Attleboro, and Mansfield. As residents continue to cut the cable cord and move to streaming services, there's less money to operate stations like North TV, cover town government meetings, school events, and organize debates like tonight. Although the streaming services are delivered over those same cables on those same telephone poles, under state law, the cable companies pay nothing. What can you, as our state representative, do to help organizations like North TV from vanishing in the coming years? John, you get the first crack at this one.
Thank you. We actually recently discussed this, and a lot of people rely on North TV. A lot of people rely on our local newspapers for news. It's safe, and it's a news source you can trust. We must do everything we can to make sure that Access TV, local news sources, remain. They're able to shine a light on local issues, which some of the larger state-run national news sources won't do. So I will do everything I can to make sure that we have funding for our local cable access TV channels. Thank you.
I like that answer. Adam.
Similar answer. I've been watching North TV for a long time, and it's really opened my eyes on the number of great things happening in our community. I often hear from a number of residents that they have a difficult time finding out what's going on in their community. And if we can do anything to support the transfer of information out into the public, I think it starts here in our local cable studio. I'm going to support whatever legislation that the local access companies like North TV are in favor of, because I believe in it, and I believe in public access, and I believe in sharing public information as much as possible with our residents.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for this evening. I bet Chris Wallace wishes he was moderating this debate rather than the debate last week. It's time for our closing statements. As I mentioned, we flipped a coin at the beginning, and Adam Scanlon will deliver the first closing statement. Adam, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you again to our members of the media, and thank you to North TV, and thank you to John for participating in this debate tonight. Look, I love this community. You guys took me in as one of their own, and ever since then, I've been fighting for you as a school committee member, as an RTM member, and now as a town councilor. The message of my campaign is very simple. I want to fight for equity and for everyone in this district. You can look at my record. As a school committee member, I worked to develop the district improvement plan and our strategic plan. I fought to lower user fees for parents and students in our schools. I oversaw the largest increase in student resources and curriculum updates, and I helped the schools become more transparent due to my advocacy of the ClearGov website. As a town councilor, I've worked on many initiatives. I've worked on working with Justin Paré and other councilors on getting tax benefits for our seniors, and I've worked on addressing legislation that affects our blighted properties. I believe that I'm the best candidate for this position despite the traditions that are attached to this seat. I am a candidate of change for the better. I understand that there's a lack of aid from our state in this district. I'm going to fight for earmarks. If we don't fight for them, then somebody else is going to get them. And I'd rather have our tax dollars coming back to North Attleboro, Attleboro, and Mansfield. When it comes to equity, this affects a variety of fronts, whether it be building an economy that works for all, fighting for the best education possible, bringing jobs to our district, fighting for affordable health care, and building a robust transportation system. I'm the only candidate that has health care and transportation and so many other things, like fighting for our environment and our seniors as part of their website. I have specific plans on what I want to do. I don't run on rhetoric. I want to support our seniors. I want to expand the circuit breaker tax benefit and allow communities to give more tax benefits to our seniors and our small businesses. I will be an independent voice. I don't go along to get along. I never have. I do know what people are going through because I take the time to listen to them. You know, unfortunately, my opponent says we're all the same. We're not all the same. Not all of us live behind a white picket fence. I talk to the single mothers out there who are struggling to put food on the table. It's not the same as a multimillionaire. Serving your community has been the honor of a lifetime, and I want to thank my family for all of their support, and I hope whoever you vote for, vote by mail, vote in person, or vote early, or vote on Election Day by November 3rd. I'm Adam Scanlon, and I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you, Adam. John, you have 3 minutes for a closing statement.
Thank you. I want to thank North TV. I want to thank their staff, the Sun Chronicle, and the North Star Reporter. And thank you, Mr. Scanlon. I want to thank all of you tuning in tonight. And I want to take a moment to thank my campaign team and all of my volunteers for their hard work and dedication. But most importantly, I want to thank my family. My wife, Lori, my daughter, Grace. Tomorrow's her 16th birthday, so happy birthday. And my son, Jack. Thank you for your support, because I'm doing this for you and everybody like you. I was born here. I went to school here. I'm a husband, a father of 2 school-age children, a small business owner, a community leader, and an elected official. I understand your issues and your concerns because I live those issues. Those issues are my issues. And we are the same. We have the same worries. We have the same concerns. Good jobs, good pay, health care, quality education. I am who I seek to represent. Let me use my lifetime of experience to go work for you, to protect your tax dollars, to help our small businesses, to fund our schools, and most importantly, to listen to you with an experienced ear. I humbly ask you for your support, and I thank you for your vote.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Adam. Want to thank our panelists, Bill Gouveia, Max Bowen, Mike Kirby. Tom Riley is here this evening writing an article for the Sun Chronicle. Talk about being as quiet as a mouse. He was sensational. Of course, our director, Chris Miller, timer, Megan Miller, and our bouncer outside, Kevin Daggett, in case things got out of hands. Don't forget, Election Day is November 3rd. Not only do we have this race to decide, state representative, state Senate race will be decided that day. A new congressman will represent this area, and of course the vice president and president will be decided on November 3rd. And then we've got those two questions. Question 1, question 2. Very important day, November 3rd. Hopefully you will either get out and vote on Election Day, vote as part of early voting, or send in your mail-in ballot. North TV will have live election coverage beginning at 9 p.m. on November 3rd. You will find out right here on North TV whether Adam or John will be representing you over the next 2 years. On behalf of all of us here at North TV, thank you for watching.